Well,
So Fazio, you work there?
No, so one of our last guests is an employee there, and he brought that.
We used to go to Fazio just to like imagine.
Oh yeah, they're all
They're great
awesome.
All the steel and all the possibilities in there. Yeah,
They have an online store now.
do they?
Yeah,
How do
so-
they even keep track of that?
I don't know.
It's just so much shit there.
I know.
Good shit.
Yeah, well, steel shit.
They're awesome. Like their business is awesome. So the owner lets them do he lets all of his employees do whatever they want to do to try and make him money. And
That's so great.
he backs it and he like lets them go for a little bit. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, he stops the bleeding and they cut their losses.
That's our philosophy at Hammerbacher. That's what we try
say
to
it
do.
all the time and it scares everyone away.
Yeah.
So we have no employees.
Like
now.
it's so overwhelming. Like
What does Hammerbacher mean?
It's a
It's my
intersection.
maiden name and married name combined.
Cool.
So Hammerschlag and then
Hammerschlag
Erbacher. So then Hammerbacher. At the time, we didn't realize it was an actual name. And actually, I think one of the co-founders of Facebook is actually named Jeff Hammerbacher. So it created a little weirdness for us for the moment.
So what kind of stuff do you invite your employees to do?
Well, just like you were saying with Fazio, I mean, basically, we are given the privilege and the opportunity to sponsor individuals, ambitious individuals
Creativity.
who want to be creative in the food industry. And a lot of times, once they've sort of proven their worth or their merit, we say that you have free reign to learn or exercise whatever it is that interests you about this industry, and we'll basically fund it. So, whether it be chocolate or breads or cupcakes or decorated cookies or anything like that, I mean, we just kind of feel it incumbent upon us to make sure that we're sponsoring that ambition. As a small business, a lot of times your responsibilities to making money are dictated by the productivity of your staff. And if you don't have excessively productive or successful staff, you're not going to make money as a small business.
So you have to keep them motivated, and a way to do that is they need some buy-in. They need to be invested in the process or have an opportunity to express themselves. And
I feel that's kind of part of the fallacy of the working wage in some instances, because it deprives the individual of personal expression in order to maximize their profitability. If I look at what I go down, I basically make my own money. Lauren goes down, she makes her own money. We're not being paid by anybody to do what it is that we do. We're getting paid based upon the success of our work. So if we bring somebody on board, if you want to make $10,000 a week, great. All you got to do is make $30,000 worth of food and sell it. If you can do that, and that's your opportunity. And I think we've presented that as such, for every employee that we've had. It's just very rarely do you find an individual who can achieve that level of obligation, especially when they're young. It's hard.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's exciting, but it's also overwhelming.
So you let them experiment with different recipes or just going on their own and doing their own thing?
Ambition. I mean, we
Either way.
We have a depth of mutual experience and individual experience that allows us sort of the opportunity to temper ambition in a way that's going to be profitable or successful. So they're not completely unhinged. They do have a grounding and the fundamentals of what they actually have to achieve in order to get your baseline reward. And then beyond that, now, if you want to put an extra 2 hours in, well, this is how you're going to optimize your reward.
We also, we get bored and we could go in a million different directions.
Terminally bored.
Yeah. So if someone comes on and they have an interest, we're like, okay, well, we'll adjust the business and kind of go in that direction, because that's how we're going to get more help.
That's how we started doing pizza.
Kyle was bored.
I wanted to talk to you about that pizza. Yeah, it's like it's so
not too much. It makes people crazy.
It's thick. The crust is so. It's like
maybe focaccia.
Which one are you talking about? The one that we currently do, or the one that we did with side piece?
The one I ate a year or two ago.
It was
very thick, and I think it had like sautéed onions in the dough itself.
Yeah, that's your focaccia. Yeah,
but it was a pizza, right?
Yeah,
and you bite it and you get this like bark on the outside, and then you're biting into just like cotton.
Yeah.
Like nothing there except for just, flavor. It was unbelievable. Where do you come up with that? Like type of
it's a lot of years of being in the restaurant business, and then a little bit of what our customer base is interested in and a little bit of what's available. And then we just start kind of like bullshitting, like, oh, we got to use up this, or I kind of like the idea of adding this and this. And then we just kind of keep going around and around until we decide.
Yeah, I think it's
like what the menu is, or
it's part of our fundamental philosophy that we think that food is slightly flawed, because if it becomes too formulaic, then it becomes dull. It becomes expected. And we just constantly sort of live on the edge of inspiration, where we're just looking for something to challenge us. I mean, we like complications. Like if something goes wrong, great, because that's an opportunity to make it right and then make it better. And then there's just sort of like the perpetual disappointment. Everything that we've done thus far, we're not satisfied with. So we're constantly trying to reinvent those things that we have done and try to figure out like what's wrong currently. And that's all determined and dictated by our current state of being. If we're kind of in a pissy mood one day, everything's going to be shit. And a lot of times it reflects that. It's unfortunate. But again, that we learn that lesson, in real time. And so, if you go into too many places right now, they're just too formulaic. I mean, they're just kind of repeating the exact same thing over and over and over again. There's so many efficiencies built into that, which is a great business model. However, when it comes down to inspiration and satisfaction, I think you're kind of missing the fundamental element of hospitality or food in general, and that is fulfillment. That is the actual the feeling of satisfaction you get when you consume something that's truly
created for you to eat.
Thoughtful, yeah.
Well, what you're describing is like it's culinary arts. It's not just food.
I've gotten into so many arguments with so many people as to like whether or not culinary is allowed the appellation art.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think we're true craftsmen, in some way. The same way that you're going to like find something that's bespoke and designed with intention. It has a purpose, like it has a utility. Food is still utilitarian, like fundamentally. Art in some way is extravagant. It's excessive. In some way, it's expression solely for the purpose of the artist alone. The consumer on the art side of things really is about their own personal journey and dilemma that they're currently experiencing, and to whether or not that art itself resonates with them. But with food, it still has to have a utility. Yeah, you're going to eat with your eyes first. We all know that same trope and bullshit. But
how about like a carpenter?
No, see, a carpenter again
you won't consider that
is functional. I think they're utilitarian. They're functional, but they're not a craftsman. A craftsman is a person who like makes unique chairs.
But there are carpenters who are craftsmen.
Who are craftsmen, yeah. But there are not craftsmen who are particular carpenters, I would say. Mm-hmm. So I feel
it's the question of artisan.
Well, and even artisan raises a whole nother set of philosophical issues. But as far as like art is concerned, we would never want to really be personally considered artists in a literal sense. Mm-hmm. I prefer craftsmen, I think, just because again, it's engineered and designed for a purpose, and it's engineered and designed for an individual. A particular individual who's looking for that level of enjoyment.
How to start? Like, how did you get started with this like passion?
What did you say? Self-preservation?
Yeah, self-defense, I guess.
Well, we both have been in the restaurant business for a lot of years, and then when we got together, what was the first thing
that we did together?
Fish Kitchen.
Fish Kitchen.
So he says we were baking in self-defense. Actually, Paul hates baking.
I hate baking.
Yeah. So he likes cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I like providing the service component, like creating the space. But we started Hammerbacher out of desperation.
Yeah.
That's actually why it has the name. Yeah, and the original logo. We didn't have anything. We were actually going to do it in our shed in our backyard. Like we were losing our house. We couldn't.
We were caught up in that 2009.
8-9
turmoil.
Housing. So we just started.
Well, there were a few customers who from the Avenue who remained loyal to us, and because of our baking from the Avenue.
Oh yeah, they used to come to the house to pick up bread.
So we had a few customers who would come to our house to pick up bread, and that just sort of maintained not a significant amount of momentum, but it maintained enough momentum that we thought there may be some legs there. So
and there was the building that we're in, I had seen for years, and I kept calling the landlord and asking to rent it. And for the longest time, I mean, we couldn't afford to rent.
It was probably 5 years that we asked him.
I think it was like 3. But I just kept calling, and I was like, can we just take a portion? Can we just have a portion? And finally, he let us take a portion of the building. And then now we rent the entire space. We live above the bakery. We live in the whole compound, Paul calls it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, I don't know. Honestly, I was thinking about it today because I had a feeling you were going to ask that. I really don't know how any of this happened.
Before that, though, like how did you know like this is what you wanted to do? Like, did you
cooking?
Did you cook a lot? Like growing up, like
my parents were both very good cooks. They were very involved in the kitchen. My mom
Travel
was
a lot.
Stay at home, and she basically thought of what was for dinner every single freaking night, and she put together excellent product. I mean, enough product of enough quality that inspired me to stay committed to the feeling, right? To the sensation.
But you also had a lot of exposure growing up. And his parents are retired Air Force.
Yeah, so they're both military. So, they traveled the world before I was born. Then once I was born, my sister and I traveled the world again. And there was just constant opportunity and exposure. So I think whenever your standard is, your baseline standard is set so high just because of your opportunities, then whenever you come back to the States sometimes, and we stayed in like North Dakota, that was a wasteland, but there was a lot of good qualities to it, but food was not one of them. We used to go to like the Norwegian festivals out there for like the Lutefisk. That was a special treat. But there's just certain moments like that just sort of kept me engaged and just sort of exposed me to the diversity that food really offers. How important food is to everyone.
But then also, like when you're a teenager, it's a great way to start a job. Like, and then you're just in the kitchen, and you like the.
Is it back then?
It's kind of addictive, actually.
Well, it was the same timeline as like Anthony Bourdain, right? So that was back in the rock and roll lifestyle of who cooks were, and just how we were just pirates and mercenaries and everything else in between, and I fell into that lifestyle. And when I was going to college, I was cooking. And after I got out of college, I was cooking. And it just didn't really work in the real world very well. It wasn't for me. The corporate structure, teaching and offices just didn't gel with my personality. And so I just sort of defaulted back into what I knew and I was extremely competitive at. And I worked for a lot of really good chefs and got a lot of really good opportunities. And then at some point you realize that you wanted to be your own man. And I struck out on my own. And Lauren and I have done a majority of that together. So she really kind of was the muse to direct those energies in a positive way. And having learned all my lessons from my previous experiences and trying to apply the right ones, not the wrong ones, we made a few really good businesses together.
Yeah, this is our third.
Yeah.
And you hate baking.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys bake a lot.
We do.
It's like a lot, like almost everything.
It's a lot. Well, it's like everything's baked.
Honestly, the first couple times we made food when we were like open and I was like, is anyone going to show up? How does this work? I'd say like, well, let's make that thing again. And he said,
I don't have a recipe.
I don't know what I did. And I was like, you got to start writing this shit down. This is not good. And we're still like that now. Like there's still riffs on things and you're like, oh, people love that thing. And he's like, I don't
Show
know
me a picture.
Yeah. We don't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We can't remember what it was. But I grew up in the restaurant business. So that's all I've ever known. My parents owned their own restaurant. So I did that all the time. I worked.
That's
for my
how. I mean, I'm Italian, so like every recipe I've ever been given is a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Right. It's like some sort of like mind meld.
You just gotta kind of
grandma
figure
comes
it out.
over and touches your head.
Well, that's actually what Paul said when we first started the bakery. That was hard for him because from a cooking perspective, it is a little bit of this. You have to feel it. You can massage it. You can steer it how you need to. But the baking, you can't.
Yeah.
It's very precise. Gears. And he's like, I can't get my head wrapped around. Like, I can't fix it after it's already, there's a chemical reaction happening.
As soon as I started breaking it down into like formulas and spreadsheets, and I started getting like really into the science about it and the formulation of it all, and then I started.
That's what gets nerdy.
Yeah, I started creating like the ratios and the relationships. Like the tolerable amounts of salinity or the baseline levels of salinity, and the way that salt works with fat versus works with acid, and once you start like really getting into like the actual mechanics of taste, then it really started making sense.
I would love to dive into that because I don't understand the mechanics of it, but if
you like it or if it's right.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a good taste for things. Like I do. I feel like I have a universal taste. I feel like I can tell someone this needs more salt, this needs more sugar. Like I'm good at that, but I don't know why. And I don't understand like like you said, like the mechanics of it.
What's that the food history
Was it Paul Abdallah?
Ken
Alabdallah.
Ken Alabala.
We've like listened to it like 3 times, but his name is so.
It's a master class or something?
Yeah, it's one of the master classes when they were free.
It's this whole history of food. It's really fascinating, but I don't know why that just reminded me.
Well, I mean, because it's the process of taste and I guess the evolution of food over time, and there's the way that culture and history have influenced our expectations of food. I mean, we're like in this privileged place right now, right, where we're kind of experiencing all these things all at once, and we have the opportunities of sharing those experiences, vicariously through mediums such as this, and I think it makes taste even more complicated because now you're actually in a state of doubt, right? So if you're not totally on board with whatever's currently viral, for example, like with the Dubai bar, loathe it. And so we made something called the Abu Dhabi bar, just because it's close to the Dubai bar. And we had people come out of the woodwork to like buy this thing that was not the Dubai bar, but because it was, Dubai bar adjacent, they were like, yeah, I've got to get one. And we had like young girls growing up with their moms, asking
like
to buy 4.
dragging them to Egg Harbor City. To
Never been there before. It's like, we don't need drugs, but they came out there and got some, Dubai bars or Abu Dhabi bars. And it was just like so weird because, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to Dubai bar. I didn't even think it was like, right.
It
was close. Right. Was it good?
Know.
Yeah, sure. It was good, but it's not what you're looking for. But so why are you here? And so, I mean, that's really complicated, I think, for chefs a lot of times. It's like understand that sometimes it's not even a value of your craft that's being appreciated. It's a value of your marketing. It's a value of your sort
nowadays.
Of multimedia expression.
Which we try really hard not to.
We've always had a pact.
Over-index on.
Whenever we've had any sort of facility, we've always we've never taken photos of ourselves. Like it's never been about us. It's never been about our story. It's never been about our personas.
It's about our humor.
It's sometimes about our humor. A lot of times it's very much about our humor. But I mean, as far as what we're doing, it's always been about the product. So that's why you're coming out here. That's what I'm going to showcase. It's not about who's representing the product.
I want to backtrack for a second to something I was thinking last night. How did I say? It was.
I'm sure.
I was thinking about how people always refer to their grandmothers, and like that they were sitting under the table. She had a cigarette hanging out of her mouth and sitting and rolling it. Like you gathered around the table, and I was thinking, I don't think necessarily we can say that about our grandmothers. Like our parents can now say that about their grandmothers, that they were the ones who did it. It's like we're so far removed now from when people have those stories that, and then the rest of that was, are we happier or are they happier? Like that grandma had to spend the entire day going from like one preparation to the next. Like the nostalgic parts of you remembers back to it being some like some family bonding thing, and it's a memory that you like a basic memory, but whether or not it was really like a good time for them, like there was a lot of freaking work all the time. It was incessant. There wasn't like, so I'm like, are people now, what are you doing with all that time that you're not preparing the food? And are you enjoying it more because you don't have to labor over it? Have we lost something because there is no?
Well, it's kind of like the Christmas thing, right? It's like, you might not enjoy buying the gift, but you love giving it, and that was like the love language in my house always is like, how much of my food will you eat? That's how you said, I love this. Thank you. You just shut up and you shoved food in your mouth.
Because somebody made it for you.
And that would make my grandmother like the happiest you could imagine. I mean, it still does, And
we had those dedicated individuals whose responsibilities were to make sure that they were maintaining sort of the life fuel of the family, and that was their primary obligation. I mean, nowadays we sort of exported that responsibility to our cooks, our chefs. And hopefully if they're doing it with integrity, where they're actually doing things from scratch, they're doing things with the level of ingenuity or creativity that inspires you to participate. I think that's one of the things that we've tried to always...
We call that the crack.
Yeah, it's the crack of the industry. Well, that's the crack of the industry, where you're kind of getting that immediate feedback from that experience, where you've satisfied someone, you've given someone something that's...
It's a lot of hard work, but when people are actually enjoying it or are excited to have it, that's the crack that makes it.
I think the same applies to the grandma. But
her entire, like her responsibility was doing that. So we've sort of romanticized or have created this like level of nostalgia around that sort of extrapolates the information that we have about the experience and not really credit or dignify the amount of work it took.
The actual obligation.
And the mundanity, like every single day, 3 meals a day, that was her job. And so, okay, Christmas is great and fun and well because you can participate, but there's the day after Christmas, and then there's also January 6th, for whatever reason. Then there's January 10th, and there's every single day, throughout the year that they were responsible for doing the exact same thing. But do we cherish those exact same moments? It's difficult to now because we just have such a, a distracted society.
Nobody wants to have that full obligation, but then there's that like thrill when you make the one thing.
We kind of can't. Right.
It's so hard.
You need 2 people.
But I think I think a lot of that has a lot to do with our expectation of food. I mean, we look online a lot of times and we find like all these menus and these recipes that they're trying to get us to construct, in order to satisfy our family or in order to prove your love language.
Oh, I was watching something where she's like, dinner again? What's for dinner? Like this what's for dinner thing. Nobody told me that like
I was going to have to create food for these people every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think, from that, that lesson is that, if you don't complicate it, if we can actually trust our culinary professionals in a sort of like real societal way where we can take them out, their expertise out and apply it at home, maybe that's our true value, is to actually simplify the process, to actually return people back into their kitchens in a way that makes them more productive, where they are being more health conscious because they are producing the food in a more
or get some joy out of
simplified manner. And I think that a lot of times, like a lot of our food expectations are set way too high. It's sort of like the body image issues that everyone. I think there's food image issues. If you're not producing food
Instagram worthy,
right, that's not comparable to Instagram, then somehow it's sub food. We at home, we have a very simplified diet. We've got the hammer bowls, right? So our hammer bowls are basically some sort of grain, some sort of protein, some sort of dairy, some sort of vegetable.
Whatever
mixed
junk
together.
You're trying to use up.
And a lot, basically it's the stuff out of the kitchen downstairs.
Not very Instagram worthy.
Not at all, but
Paul's favorite is white rice with cottage cheese and sriracha.
Yeah, that's a simple go-to.
That's dinner.
Like I need calories tonight because
I like all of those things.
Right, and I've got to get up in 4 hours, so I just need to pack in calories and get on. So sometimes you're just like eating
You're fueling yourself.
Right, and that's the basic level of food, and it doesn't have to be
entertaining.
It doesn't have to be romantic. It just has to be functional.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like food prep that goes into it. Like hearing you talk about that, we do. The romanticized part of like our work or our food at home is weekends. You know what I mean? Like during the week, it's a nightmare. The kids want chicken nuggets. You know what I mean? We do as much prep as we can. Like tonight, we had these black bean burgers that I've been making forever. And they come out like really good, like, make the whole thing out of scratch. It comes out pretty good, but you put them in the freezer and now for the next 3 weeks, we have black bean burgers, real easy, simple. Yeah.
That's the other problem with food, right?
Yeah.
It's like you eat what you like. Mm-hmm. I can't dictate to you your taste. I can't tell you what you're going to like.
Well, I've been actually trying to eat for like macros. Like I've been kind of paying attention to like my macros and stuff. I gotta like I was saying, like eating is like the love language of my. So my wife is the only woman who's ever cooked for me, besides my mom or my grandma. So when I met her and she was cooking for me, like that was me saying that. Like I would just eat everything, and she just kept cooking, and I just kept eating. I got very fat. Yeah.
She can't believe how much this guy can eat.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I mean and I've been like kind of trying to
You finally had a conversation about it. You're like, oh,
like, listen, like,
bail this back.
Yeah, but yeah, like on the weekends we try and make that like the like that'll be like what we do for the day is like Sunday we'll make pasta. We've been making our own pasta all the time. Like I was telling you guys earlier, we got the wheat mill, so we've been milling our own wheat for flour for bread and stuff. And she does that more often than I do the pasta or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's the fun part, like when you do it like once a week, like 7 days a week. To your point, is like totally
we always
like
laugh
not manageable.
when people come in and ask for work and just say that they like to bake at home, and we're like, well, this isn't that.
Yeah, we'll stop.
Like, don't
we'll stop
do
that
it
quick.
because you'll hate baking at home.
Yeah.
When you're doing it in volume like this on a regular, I mean, we're a decade in now. Mm-hmm. June will be 10 years for Hammerbacher, and I mean, it's not that. It's like thousands of cookies.
Yeah, you don't realize how much your
hundreds of-
hands know until, you really start working in an industry like this where there is a lot of repetition, repetitive motions. You build up that muscle memory, and your hands are so smart. At some point, you're doing certain things. Like I just did a demo over at Absagami in order to help them work on their sourdough bread program, and sort of like the fluency that my hands have in the moment to demonstrate something. It's just it needs to go back on slow-mo. It's like, okay, stop. Yeah, can you do all that again, but one step at a time? And then you're really going through the process and sort of demonstrating and slowing down, thinking about your process, and then trying to find a way of like sort of relating or translating that language your hands have to your brain, to your mouth, to them, so they can translate it to their hands. And it's really, really difficult.
I do wonder though if things taste better
Like making
when
pasta.
you've made them from scratch. Like you find more
I think
satisfaction,
it's
gratification from.
I think it's much better.
Yeah.
And that's why I think
Prepare.
your weekends are so precious a lot of times, because if we talk about like financial literacy and how we just sort of like lack that opportunity to transfer that information onto our kids, and sort of they actually have sort of like a little bit of awareness about what they're getting into in the future, I think food literacy is also one of those elements I think that we should find meaningful ways of expressing in a household in 30 minutes. So at least there's some sort of interest built up around food. I was trying to get kids to like just smell the starter, if nothing else. And I had kids actually say no, which I guess, okay, fine, no. But you're depriving yourself of just a moment where something could ignite. And I think the less that we do that, the less that we're exposing the kids to those opportunities. I mean, that's just what's, securing our future of just having just complete food wastelands where there really is no inspiration anymore. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do in the future where we don't have these transferable experiences where this is the way that mom and dad did because this is the way grandma and grandpa did. This is the way that great,
we're
so on
running
and so
out of
forth.
that a little
We're running
bit.
out of those opportunities. So I think we've always made, I think, most of our situations, most of our restaurants very transparent. Because I think first and foremost, what you enjoy eating is what you trust eating. And if you don't trust us, you're probably us as culinarians, as chefs, you're not going to trust your food. And so you really have to think, like, when you go out to eat sometimes, do you trust the person making your food?
Well,
Or you
sometimes
just-
we go in a place and I look at him and he's like, okay, safety order.
Safety order.
Like what's not going to kill us.
Right.
We're going to like
Which is,
land up in the
that
bathroom.
list is getting smaller and smaller at this point.
What's your favorite place to eat?
Upstairs.
That's our house.
Yeah.
We don't
no,
go
Not
there's-
out. You got to
there-
have a restaurant.
There's a place in Philly I love.
Mishmish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go out
That's
to Mishmish in Philadelphia, and when we're feeling like, we want to deal with traffic and trying to parallel park. That's an adventure. I can't stand the city otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we go and he turns around if he can't find a parking spot. We come
Yeah.
all the way back.
Yeah, literally.
home.
Like if it's too much of a hassle to find a parking
Are you
spot.
kidding me?
No, I'll just go for the trip and just get the miles in the car.
I've done that. Yeah.
Gone to Philly and just turn around and said, no, it's not worth it.
Maybe not Philly, but I've definitely like
Gone out
made
and said, "Fuck
decisions
it."
like I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Right,
we're gonna-
right.
Yeah.
The reward is not worth the effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I think where we go primarily. We've gone to the Ebbett room downstairs. Our friend Jason, I think he's still down there. Yeah, he's still down there at the Ebbett room.
In Cape May.
Yeah,
Oh, so Cape May has a spot called 401 Bank Street that we love.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
I love that spot.
that place.
I think it's
that's
close.
recent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they have like that. It's like New Orleans style kind of stuff. Like they have like.
I mean, Jason's always been like heavily influenced by Asian food, and I mean, I think he does a good job of capturing the elements and translating that into a more continental plate. But I think he's one of the few places I think that we'll go to.
We usually go somewhere we know.
Yeah, where we trust the chef.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, I think that's fundamentally important when you're eating. Fundamentally, you've got to trust your food source.
So you talk about getting bored cooking. You do sneak the smoker into quite a bit of meals, which
Fire's just cheating.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but it's so fundamental. It's so
I've
primal.
been the past 3 weeks just with this cold. I haven't been able to cook outside, and I didn't realize how much I missed it. Like I outside yesterday in drizzling 40-degree weather.
Right.
I was cooking outside for
It does
hours.
make everything taste delicious.
You can cook the worst food possible and it'll taste amazing on
I just
fire.
love it. I love it. I love the smoker. I love the charcoal
He
grill.
does burgers on the smoker, in the smoker. So good.
So if I crank that thing up to like 450 degrees, I have a piece of sheet metal from Fazio. And I just, no, seriously, put it on the smoker in the interior so that just heats up nice and high, and just sear off some burgers on that under the smoke, under that high temp. Oh, so good. It's cheating.
It is a little bit. The smoker is a little cheating because
you have to get good wood around here too. I mean, we have so much great oak around here, white and black oak. But then I try to get like
wood. That's a wood smoker.
And then I try bringing like a little bit of cherry or apple because we had so many great fruit trees back in the days in this area, and they're still out there. So I have a couple of guys that will go up and they'll bring down a couple of the orchards every once in a while, and we have a pretty good supply of cherry.
I have
which is
a
nice.
massive cherry tree in my backyard.
That's money right there.
So the birds eat half, and then they save us half. So
The cherries.
Yeah. But it's enough, it's enough for the whole family. We crush them all. Well, not, you get one pick out of it. That's
that's kind of like that's the generosity of nature, right? Is that we can exploit that. Like if you have tomatoes all year round, like if I'm eating a tomato tonight, something's wrong in the universe.
Yeah.
So I mean, tomato season, like, Jen and Ryan over at Walking Bird, like when she grows those like little sun golds, oh, those things are so good.
But you wait for it all year long.
But man, you're like out in the fields and you're picking. And you're like, all right, 3 for me, 1 for the basket. And they get ripped off so heavy out there, I swear to God. They have to have somebody, you have to like weigh the person. Like whenever the person comes in to pick your own, they should weigh the individual and put like a little sticker on them, how much they weighed when they came in, and then weigh them again when they leave. And then just add that onto their bill because, I mean, I swear, people
I think that's actually, now that
a handful.
This is
it's a lot of the food philosophy
like
too.
Trucking, yeah.
Yeah, like a truck. Yeah.
I was going to say it's a lot of the food philosophy is kind of give the food its opportunity. Like you don't have to overdo it necessarily. You have a good ingredient, you treat it properly, you do something nice with it, and you have a good
It's going to resonate.
And
There's not much you have to do to it in order to make it just sing. Like asparagus is going to be coming up soon. I mean, and we've got a lot of great asparagus growers out in Vineland, I mean, we should all be eating asparagus. Like all the kids at school should be eating asparagus. I mean, the place
Makes
should
your pee
stink like
stink,
like asparagus pee.
That's a good point. Have you gone to ITA 101 in Medford? Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
So the guy, he everything he changes his menu every 3 days, and it's just like seasonal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he'll have asparagus coming, and he tries to represent like a different part of Italy, like every time. But the food there is like excellent. I recommend it. If you guys are into,
we're always into
trying,
recommendations.
yeah. If you want to, leave the
we love it. I mean, we love people that try. I mean, and that's one thing. I think we can go out, honestly, and we can have a bad meal. But if we feel like they're trying, that's a good meal.
So one of the first times already dating? I think we were already dating. We went out for Chinese food.
Which is notoriously bad. I mean, there's not a good Chinese restaurant around here. There was one.
It was one of the first times we ever went out to dinner because I guess I just didn't know him with food in that way. And we ordered like an appetizer and it had like a mixture of things. And he took a bite of the egg roll and he just kind of like stopped for a second and his eyes actually teared up. And I'm like, what is going on? He's like, this is really good. It was really done well.
Like some of the like egg rolls, like they just, it feels like they like use 15 wrappers to like wrap the egg roll. So it's about 6.5 inches of like dough, and then there's like little core of like cabbage and a carrot. Yeah. It was so light, so flaky. It was blistered nicely, and I'm just like the fermentation. There's like a light fermentation in the cabbage, and the carrots were nice, and it was just done.
This is 20 years ago,
right?
And he still remembers.
Yeah, it was just right. It was just sometimes you just have something like that, and it's just right.
Yeah. So do you do the opposite too? Like when you get the opposite of good, do you like not make a stink of it?
No.
We just won't eat it.
We're industry professionals.
No, you don't talk to her about it. Like this is ridiculous.
Oh no, we go home and we revenge cook.
Speaking of like things you remember forever, we went to a place and got stuffed cherry peppers one time, and they brought out 5 halves. I'm like, so
where's the other?
Yeah, like
why would you
literally
do that?
cut one in half. Like there's the other half of this is sitting in the kitchen somewhere.
Why
would you just give me 6?
The server probably ate.
Right, there was 6.
Fell on the floor.
There was 6.
Yeah, it drove me nuts. Like my wife, like I got into an argument. My wife,
You go home, you have like the whiteboard out, and you're like drawing like diagrams. It's like,
was it that big of a deal?
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Because it is mine. It's like when you get chicken wings. It's like, where the hell's the rest of the chicken?
Yeah.
Because
That's a great question.
They have chicken breasts, they have chicken wings, and then there's like, that's it. It's like,
So,
there's another like half of the chicken missing here.
I'm notorious for wanting to try a lot of like I'll see something coming up online or whatever, and I just want to give it a try. And I make Paul and our son Pax go to dinner, and I don't know, usually annoyed afterwards. And I'm like, oh, you're not picking again. And I'm like, well, we had to just give it a try. So usually we'll give place a try or two. And then, I don't know, we just look at each other at one point and like, all right, we're done. Not coming. Like this, we're not.
We learned our lesson.
This is off the list for future. So I think we're a pain in the ass when it comes like that, but I don't think we make anyone else responsible for it.
No, because I mean, again, I guess it's that trying. I mean, sometimes you know when they're not trying. You just
when they're just pumping out food.
Well, you see the salad comes out and it has that like sort of like I was under plastic wrap for the last 2 days sort of look, and you don't even like zhuzh it up a little bit to make them look vibrant at all. It's like,
you
okay,
just said zhuzh.
Yeah, zhuzh.
Shocking.
or the dressing comes out. And it's like why do we, if we're gonna trust somebody to make like a medium rare hamburger, why can we not trust them to toss the salad in the freaking dressing?
Yeah.
Like, why is it always on the side? I mean, can we not trust our garde-mangers to just toss a proper salad?
I like salad after I eat too.
That's very European of you.
I can't eat salad
Italian.
before.
It's very Italian.
I just love it. I love the crunch and the
just finish
fresh.
it.
It's just fresh.
If you got nice, fresh, sweet vegetables, I think it resonates.
Like iceberg. I
love iceberg. Yeah, I do too. I'm an iceberg
camp. I used to
camp.
eat it by the head when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to
It is so satisfying.
And just peel one leaf at a time and just.
I was told. I mean, like iceberg is like supposed to be like a rarity or a sign of generosity, like in China, in some aspects, and in Chinese culture, like because of I think the amount of effort it takes to actually keep iceberg in shape, fresh. That it just requires a lot of effort, and so therefore it's like seen as a gratuity.
Huh.
Yeah, but odd facts.
Odd facts.
Factoids.
You guys, you working on anything? New recipes or anything?
Always. Every recipe.
What you got going
on? Pertaining which way? Which one do you want to know?
Tell them about the fries.
The most exciting. What's
nothing exciting.
The fries.
We finally refined our babka recipe.
Oh yeah.
So that's been.
That's another thing too. Is like your menu. I never know what I'm reading.
Yeah, it's that's part of that trust.
You just go in there, you just look at it. Like, I want that, I want that, I want that.
And I think that's the joy of it too. If it becomes too formulaic, like if DoorDash calls us all the time and they want us to to advertise on DoorDash.
No,
I said that's impossible. You can't keep up with us. And you're like, what do you mean? Let me talk to my manager about that. It's like, go ahead, talk to your manager, give me a call back, and let me know how you can make this work because I can't. So we change it up all the time, and because I think a lot of times, if you enjoy what we do, if you trust our palates, because I think essentially that's the success that a small restaurant ever achieves is that you just have enough people that agree with your palate to keep you in business. So we've managed to do that, and
but every once in a while you just make up something ridiculous.
Yeah, sometimes like the cereal taco.
Yeah,
that was a confluence.
What was that?
I saw a picture of something and I said, I want something like this, like an Instagram thing. And then he starts doing the scientist, right? I come up with this like crazy, ridiculous thing, and then it's his job to figure out how to make it. And so he just started making a cereal bar that uses caramel, like not the marshmallow, but like caramel's holding it together. And I wanted it to be a sandwich, like big, like with a lot of stuff in the center. He's like, well, that's obscene and I'm not doing it. So he made it like open face. And I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like then the icing's exposed. It doesn't look like anything. Not doing it. So we went back and forth to try and figure it out for a little while. And he's like, oh, just make it a taco. Broke it in half, like, because then you have a half a sandwich. It's a reasonable amount of food, but it looks like something. So we both get what we want out of it. And so we just started making.
I think our aesthetic is primarily built on geometries, which is what I like. I mean, I like the effects of the simple shapes. rounds, squares, triangles. I think those combinations, that minimalist combination of shapes, I think is what really.
We didn't say what it was. It's
creates
just a cereal bar with
something visual for us. But yeah, about the cereal taco. So then we just sort of get inspired, by what's commercially available in regards to cereal, and then say, okay, what's appropriate for those cereals?
What filling do you want?
Yeah.
Just walk around the supermarket, daydream.
Yeah, because there's just so many like played out flavors out there, but then also trying to think of like what your market actually wants. It's a difficult balance to achieve. Ultimately, we're not going to do anything that's commercially successful. In that regard, we're always going to try to push the envelope a little bit, but
We have
we
some
can't overstep.
generic flavor combinations. That's
The
what
VLC.
people like. Yeah.
The VLC, which is the vanilla, lemon, chocolate. So those are always a standard sort of like default.
Lemon is
Like lemon
I
cake.
only
lemon
started really enjoying lemon in like anything.
Right.
Only
Well, as your
recently.
Not
palate-
lemon water ice. Lemon water ice.
Mm-mm. No, I like lime. I've always liked lime.
Yeah.
But lemon just never did it for me. And then my wife made a lemon freezer cake. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then ever since then, like I like
Yeah, like
in
lemon
almost
pound cake's a
everything.
thing.
Well, I mean, what lemon did she use?
Just like a lemon.
Yeah,
It
but what
wasn't-
lemon?
It was.
It's important.
She went to Bagliani's, got a lemon. I'm sure. Yeah.
Bagliani's lemon, so that's different.
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, like when you're sourcing, like going back to the seasonality issue. I mean, a lot of times when you source your product, I mean, something that's not good in November is going to like really sing in July. So you could, and then also your palate. You know what kind of baggage you're bringing to every single dining experience that you have. I mean, if you had a shitty day or you had a shitty relationship that day, you're bringing a ton of bitterness into that experience, and so you can pretty much prejudice your entire dinner just by having that bad day. And you could be having an unreasonably great day and do the exact same thing to yourself. And so a lot of times nostalgia is a bitch in the industry, right? So sometimes nostalgia is really going to front load your experience in a way that sometimes someone like me will never be able to achieve. And then inadvertently, I might exceed myself because whatever I made reminds you of that thing that you had when your whatever it was.
Yeah, we had a
and then
guy.
I don't know what I did. I didn't do it intentionally. It just kind of worked out that way.
Years ago, we had a guy come in who wanted cheese babka that his Lithuanian grandmother used to make. And he said he used to make it with her. She made it for him, but they couldn't communicate at all. They spoke two different languages. He was so little, he didn't remember anything, but he like remembered this flavor. So we tried, I don't know.
Maybe 4 iterations.
Yeah, every time, like, it's good, but that's
Kept
not
trying it for him?
it.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It was a personal objective, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I love those challenges.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and sets a bar, and I'm like, okay, you got to give me some parameters. I got to have at least a direction to go with this, and then then we go after it.
And then the one time he had it, and he was like, "Oh, that's it.
I don't know what I
That's
did.
it.
It's awesome.
I don't know what I
Yeah.
did. Do you have a picture?
I know what it. I know what you did on that one.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then we codify things in our little recipe manual, and
And then
then it
we
lives
change
forever,
it.
and then we change it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then we're like, we're done with that.
It's
Yeah.
so funny because like hearing you say that there's we got this recipe book a couple years ago, and just old Italian recipes, and one of them is a Italian pizza, but it's a stuffed pizza, so
Right.
it's like crust on the bottom, crust
Yep.
on the top, and inside of it it's it's like garlic, prosciutto, anchovy, escarole, black olives, olive oil.
I wanted
And
to do
then on
anchovy.
top, it's hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Just a sheet of hard-boiled eggs, and then the top of the. And I don't know what it was, but I didn't even want this thing. Like I didn't even want it. I mean, we were sitting there, we had company over. I'm looking at it, I'm like, ugh, like I don't know. And then I take a bite of this thing, and it tasted like home.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even like just something about the combination of
The
flavors.
melding
in
of
this thing, and
flavors.
I was
Yeah.
like, what? It just tasted like something I had
Sometimes-
such a long time ago.
That's
I
the
love
alchemy.
that. Yeah. And then sometimes we don't really say what's in something because I'm like, that's not a selling point, the word itself. But I know it's going to taste good that's in there. So I just
Yes.
kind of skip that part.
It's the Patagonian toothfish argument, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like you have to remarket something to the point, like you're just playing so many games with the words in order to find the thing that actually, the word that sells, not the product that sells. And again, going back to our previous conversation, sometimes that product can't sell itself. The word alone cannot sell itself. So you have to kind of play a little word salad with it in order to figure out like what really resonates, what
That's
plays
partly
well.
why we don't call the thing usually.
Yeah.
Like I try and explain it in my like a CRX is a croissant, but I don't necessarily.
It's just our like in-house abbreviation that we just said, okay, whatever,
I don't know.
we'll fly with it.
Well, because I'm
that's
not
cool.
French, I'm not even saying it right. So why I've just rather called it a CRX and move on.
Because it's not that thing anyhow.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
and I
like,
think there's
it's modern.
Well, it's
very hip.
authenticity. Well, it's authenticity. You know, you're not. I'm not going to. Like I was saying about like Jason, like his ability to manipulate Asian flavors. I mean, I never really had that training in my experience, and so I don't pretend to.
I ask all the time for like ramen,
Right, to influence
which
something.
he'll make for us, but not.
Yeah, but it's not my. I can't say with authenticity that I can sell it as a business person.
Do you make the ramen?
I make it for us. You know.
Do you make the noodle?
Oh, no, making the alkaline? No.
Okay.
Well, I won't go that far.
Okay.
No, we get like Sun noodles from New York, which are, I guess, the best industry ones. So, but but it's not something I can stand behind as a business and say, I'm doing this authentically for money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done pho a couple times.
Yeah.
It comes out good.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like it's one of those situations where
like.
You can kind of tailor it. You can kind of like just edge it into the profile that you're looking for. That's going to satisfy you and like really set you off. And then it's yours. You own it. I mean, it's not to say that it's wrong at all. It's just your own preference. And so, yeah, sure. Throw some,
peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little extra clove in there or whatever. Yeah.
Well, extra clove, whatever you need.
Star anise. Yeah. So you guys are open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Mm-mm.
Well, it was Wednesday, Thursday.
It was what the
WTF.
fuck?
Yeah. This is awesome.
Did it change to Thursday, Friday?
Yeah. Well, we had the farm. So the farm.
When Walking Birds open, we send product to them on Saturday. So we dropped Wednesday so that we could still have the 3 days because it was just too much.
Yeah, we have the flow chart on our website.
Then?
Thursday, Friday.
Okay. And it's like the first time I went there, it was like open at 2, close when we sell out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, okay.
No, I mean,
it's not a business model. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to.
Can't go to a bank with it.
I'm not going to write like a 20-page pamphlet on how to run a business like this.
It's completely accidental, and we're really lucky.
I think we happened to hit into the market in a sweet spot 10 years ago where Facebook was still friendly to users. And I don't think if it wasn't for Facebook, I don't think our model would have been as successful as it is because now we've sort of just like built in habits. But at that time, our ability to get the exposure that we needed in order to drive the business that we wanted, and because we kept our overhead relatively low, it worked. It managed to work, and we allowed it to perpetuate itself and then create all of our different sort of concoctions of concepts and ideas. And it still works, and we still have kept our overhead low. And I mean, we work all week. I mean, we're still putting in 70 to 80 hours a week in order to make the food. It's just why stretch all of that obligation over hours of dead time where you're not going to draw customers that we can't possibly produce enough food for.
Yeah, we're not in a place where there's like foot traffic.
We've just consolidated. We're a destination anyhow.
Where quality of life has to be like much improved.
It's better than it was like the first 5 years.
Days a week.
Well,
it's still 6 days a week. We're still doing that time because I mean, our Sundays are our administrative days, so we're doing shopping, we're doing menu planning, we're catching up on the books and everything. Monday through Friday, we're just working towards that Thursday, Friday justification. But it's still rough. I mean, it's not easy at all.
But we changed the hours. I mean, we used to get up at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, and then we just try to figure out a way that how can we do this so we can get up at 5. Or, be on the road
open
at 5.
At 3.
Yeah, and so we have
we've
optimized.
Been massaging it along the way.
We've optimized our production and we've optimized the hours in order to make sure that every single hour that we're open to the public is profitable.
It bothers me a little bit because I know it's really inconvenient, and probably we wouldn't come to our own place. Like I don't stand in line. I can't get him to wait in line.
I don't stand in line for food, so I wouldn't wait.
Or to like line always. Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I feel lucky every time we open the door. I wonder if people are going to be there, and like I feel. It's lucky.
Cool. And you're looking at like the last loaf.
I know.
Ready. You're like, man, I hope
we were actually okay. So we were just having this conversation, and the philosophical argument is how do you ensure that when you are open as little as we are and we're producing as much food as we do, that you make sure that people don't walk away disappointed, unsatisfied. And it's extremely difficult for us to sort of navigate that responsibility whenever we're doing as much as we can. We're also trying to produce as much variety as we can. So
it's worth the trip.
Right. And so we're trying to justify all of this to every single person in line. And we want every single person in line to have the exact same experience, but that's impossible, right? I've always said that, if the only successful day that we've ever had is when we've had one of everything left over, because that would be the only indicator that I made the right amount. Otherwise, I don't know if I'm missing sales. I don't know if I'm overproducing or any of these things. But then to have the kind of variety that we have requires us to take away our attention from certain items and dedicate them towards other items. But that means there's limited quantity on some things that we probably should have made more.
So what
we never know.
happened this last week is Valentine's Day and President's Weekend all rolled into one. We made a cool menu, but we were mobbed. And on Friday, we had quite a few people who were coming in to shop for all the Valentines in their lives. So you see there's this line of people all the way behind you, and then you want croissants and you buy 12. and
we made 50.
But so I'm like, well, you're taking care of the people you want to give a gift to, which I appreciate, and I'm happy for that. But at the same time, acknowledge the community of people behind you who are also made it an agenda to stand in line and to get something, and it's not.
Yeah, so
it hurts my heart because
we don't know the right answer.
Those people are disappointed. Someday you get it, someday you don't. I don't really know what the answer is.
I think it adds to the experience. I've never gone there with I'm sure I'm not like everyone, but I've never gone to Hammerbacher's and I got to go there to get this. I've always just been what?
Roll the dice.
I don't even know what this stuff is. Let me just go eat something, And I go in there and I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's good. Let me try that. I'll try that. And then, like you said, Michelle like this and this one will like this. And my mom, I got to get my mom one of these. And you end up getting way more than you think you're going to get because you're just so excited to be in there and all this new, cool, smelling good stuff. And it adds to the experience because like we said, there's this old guy in front of me. He's getting stuff for his mom and this one. Right. And, you end up getting stuff that you normally wouldn't get. You're like, well, what's this? Yeah, all right. Give me one of them. You just want to fill a box up and take it because everything's going to be awesome. And I think you guys have solved the problem of people not getting what they want because everything is awesome.
It's
we hope that that's the case. Yeah. But on this last day, I was really so many people were just disturbed because they're watching this volume go, and then they're not getting what they want, and then they're upset.
What do you do? Limit the customers?
But how do you, right? Because I don't know if you're buying for a family of 10.
Yeah, wear a mask. You can only get one pack of chicken. So,
right.
Yeah.
We've
debated all the possibilities. I don't have a good one other than.
But none of one of them seems to fall in line with the model of hospitality.
How about order ahead only on days like that?
We offer that as an option. Don't tell anybody, but that is an option. For people to kind of make that their opportunity, which we try to respect as much as we can. Because we're manning the phones as well in that regard. And so we have presented that as an option. Some people take advantage of it, which is fine and well. But ultimately, the stock is the stock. It's finite. I'm going to disappoint
Costco.
Somebody.
Walmart,
and that's what I'm trying. I always try to sort out. Is I think you have to have those sort of adjusted expectations when you do come into a place such as ours. Any place that's doing anything from scratch, especially if you're working with dough in any regard. You're talking about product that requires at least 3 days of planning and execution in order to pull off. Most of the pastries, in many regards, take at least 2 days, if not one. Nothing's just being made, with the exception of cookies. That's the one thing that we can kind of pull off in the moment. But everything else is a multi-day process, either out of specific need for the product or just out of organizational need for ourselves in order to make sure that we can budget our time appropriately. So
are you cooking for the next day? When you go in there and you're in the back.
Yeah, we're 3 days out.
And you got everything in the, you're cooking for tomorrow.
If not for.
Well, preparing.
Okay.
The starter has to get fed, then it has to be built up, then the dough has to be made. The dough rested for a day.
No, we use commercial yeast in some things, but we do a lot of overnight fermentation on our items just to improve the digestibility of them. So even our commercial yeast products are,
still 48-hour ferment.
Yeah, of better quality just because of that practice. So that's a manipulation of the chemistry.
Is that how you get it so fluffy, like so airy?
There's a lot of different. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah. Okay. The end result is not necessarily any single success. It's multiple successes simultaneously. So I mean, like especially like with sourdough bread.
Oh, you can mess that up.
There's so many different ways to mess that up. I mean, there's every time is an opportunity to screw it up.
Well, there's just so many factors you can change. And even the outside temperature, the outside humidity affects how the dough.
Yeah, I mean, you would think 73 degrees or 73 degrees. Well, it depends on whether or not the space, the ambient is trying to cool it down to 73 degrees, or is the space trying to warm it up to 73 degrees? Because 73 is not 73.
That funny?
The dough crazy. The dough thinks it's funny.
In the summertime, like 68 degrees feels like nice.
Well, that's subjective.
68 degrees feels nice.
Relative and subjective to ourselves.
Sometimes we look at the dough. I'm like, oh, it's the seasonal shift.
It works for gaining and losing weight too.
Oh yeah, that's mandatory. That's mandatory. Yeah. You
like 215 on the way up looks terrible. 215 on the way down looks like not that.
You gotta get that winter coat on.
Valid. That's a great point.
Yeah. But we always do. So whenever we're arguing with, I mean, not only ourselves, because it is sort of personal. Like our relationship with the dough, with the product as a whole, is a personal relationship that each of us has with the process. But then the product itself has its own relationship with the environment. And we don't have proofers or retarders in our space. See, I got that in there. In our space, in order to manipulate the timeline. We're very, very much at the mercy of the environment that dictates to us how we need to fashion the dough.
Depending on what it's like in the space or what it's like outside, the croissants rise in a different place.
Oh, this humidity level. I mean, the humidity in the space has been running 17%, which is just
He monitors that. That's the science. It's like it goes.
Do you
deep.
cure your own meat?
Yeah, we used to. Yeah, don't tell
don't do that anymore?
Don't tell the health department.
That's something I've been really trying to get into.
It's so actually, you know what? The funny thing is a lot of these sort of I guess archaic cooking practices are actually very, very simple. I mean, they're very simple. Yeah, exactly. You just need to have the time and the patience. Yeah. And that's why I see
salt, and that's it.
Yeah. Right. And just and patience. Yeah. You have to
like
be willing.
Biltong.
Yeah, biltong or
you could go to my grandfather's house and he will
in the basement.
In the basement, and you can make an Italian hoagie with his olive oil.
He's like, wait a minute, I'll be back.
All his meat.
That's amazing, right?
His bread, everything, just like here's some tomato.
It's the best damn sandwich you've ever had,
dude. I mean, and you blow up. You can't take your wedding ring off for the week after.
Right? Yeah.
But it's it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what we need to kind of find a way of doing
like
again.
The pleasure.
Yeah.
And I think, they're talking about fixing the housing situation. I think you need to start manufacturing housing in a way that's going to sort of encourage these behaviors, whether it be working outside, whether it be doing your own cooking, whether it be, creating your own larders. I mean, we should have houses that are kind of facilitating that practice. I mean, it shouldn't be an afterthought or only reserved for the ultra wealthy. It should be something that is just part of our, everyday living.
Isn't that funny? It's it was reserved for the poor, and now it's reserved for the wealthy.
Right, but you look at housing the way that it evolved. Look at the kitchen, the way the kitchen space has evolved over the last 50 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see sort of what is being prioritized. I mean, all the built-in microwaves that sort of found their all their trends during the 80s and 90s, and now you're seeing them back off.
We've talked about that, the trend though, for the future, which is sort of disturbing, but that some people are not going to be able to eat. They're going to be able to feed.
Well,
or they're not going to be able to have dine.
So I think some of the podcasts that we've been listening to, and some of the reading that we do, it really does sort of start creating this very stark distinction between the ability of individuals to access food as a real thing, as a real substance. The idea of what we're going to manufacture for the masses, the soylent version of food, and then the people who are going to be able to afford and participate.
It's here now, right? I mean, it's
not at the level I think that we're going to experience shortly.
Right. You're going to get
but we're being trained into that, right?
Elephant-sized pigs that are just being processed in China.
Right. You're going to have laboratory-grown meats that are doing the exact same thing. They're just going to be accepted, somehow approved and accepted into society. But this is all part of a training level. I mean, I remember when we first started cooking back in the 90s, and cilantro became the big thing. It was a love or hate sort of relationship with cilantro, but cilantro for whatever, right? But for whatever, it took a long time in the 90s for people to really start kid into the idea that cilantro was acceptable in food. It wasn't soap. Someone didn't misplace the Dawn, somehow.
Wow.
But cilantro, I think, became that sort of harbinger of the evolution of food and what was going to make food more interesting.
Taste.
I think, it should be like a mandatory build-in that, houses have like an herb garden of some nature. Because even just like the simple addition of small herbs.
Well, I think you're going to have to. I mean, you're just going to have to.
But
some of your own.
It's such a simple move to make food just a little bit more interesting that doesn't require the use of salt. You add a little bit, before you grab the salt, grab a little bit of thyme or grab a little bit of oregano, fresh. Add that first. Taste it again. You don't need the salt. And the same thing like with lemon juice or any sort of acid. Add like a little splash of apple cider vinegar. Add like a little bit of lemon zest or something in there. Don't add the salt.
It's funny. So
salt.
I'm a salt guy, but I'm not so like I will sweeten with salt, right? Like my tomato sauce, I don't ever put sugar in it. I just add salt.
Right.
If I want it sweeter. And I think, I'm more of like a salt cook than anything.
Yeah, salt does serve, its own chemical purpose as to like opening up the palate in order to accept flavors better. So you don't need a lot of salt. Again, if you can taste salt, you've oversalted, right? You shouldn't be able to taste salt. Salt itself should just be a reinforcement of all the natural flavors that currently exist.
Yeah.
But you can accomplish the exact same sort of result by using herbs or using acids. Acids and herbs do almost the exact same, provide or produce the exact same function on the palate as salt will. So salt is easier, salt is cheaper. It's one of those questions, why is salt and pepper always available on every American table? Why is that the standard spice additive to all of our food?
It could have just been cinnamon.
Could have been cinnamon. It could have been just
clove.
Herbs. It could have just been something else other than.
GOP.
Yeah, GOPs.
Could be nothing.
Could be nothing.
Yeah.
If it's done right, it should be nothing.
Yeah. So that's funny. So let's talk about this, like where your mind's going with this. Like, what do you mean? Like a government assisted, like herb garden and everyone's.
No. Again, it's trending.
Or do you think people are just going to organically?
Okay, so he doesn't like an ensuite bathroom and
eat-in bedroom.
Oh yeah, he hates when the bedroom's near the kitchen. But like the grand room where it's all, what's the freaking word for it?
What, the entertaining space?
No, like the kitchen, the living room, the dining room. It's all like open floor plan.
Open concept.
Yeah.
Open concept.
Because
you had all the words, just not the right order.
Sorry. It just then each room doesn't have its use, its function. So like the modern house doesn't necessarily support doing some of these private events. Like the TV's the main thing on the wall.
It's just like having the infotainment center in the car. Like why we have something even called the infotainment center in the car? And why that's not the place for that, right? If you're in the car, you should be driving. That should be the pleasure. That's the entertainment aspect, right? You should be driving for pleasure. But yeah, like within the kitchens, no, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a government mandate. We don't have to have that sort of
obligation.
Well, so I took what you were saying as that, like that the food that's going to be provided to the masses is going to be so much it's going to be so lab grown, so
cheap and
so non-nutritional that people are going to.
It could be nutritional.
Organically get back. It could be nutritional,
but it won't be the cultural or the expressive experience that we're supposed to be embracing right now. Yeah, it would be devoid.
But what now that is like
your
Saturday
Sundays? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What now that's like lab grown is as nutritional or is even like at all nutritional. Compared to anything else.
First and foremost, all processed food is to be enjoyed. It's engineered to taste good first. Okay, bottom line, it's supposed to taste good
and be preserved.
And shelf stable,
last forever.
Yeah, shelf stable. Outside of that, there are regulations that indicate or dictate how it's supposed to measure on the nutritional spectrum. And if it doesn't fall within a certain standard, it's supposed to notify you of that. Again, this puts a lot of onus on the individual to try to select food based upon what they read. And if you're having to read your food, you're not eating food. Michael Pollan, of course, he's the gold standard when it comes to these kind of arguments.
That's my favorite omnivore's dilemma, Michael.
Again, I would imagine that we would actually have to look at individuals such as yourself, the influencers, the people who are giving individuals opportunities to think, to have a conversation about what their ambitions are, what their intentions are. And so if we can actually just influence people gradually, put them in the right direction, not like actually sell them a product per se, but to sell them a concept, sell them an idea, give them that initiative, the intellectual capital necessary to make the change. And if it is just as simple as swinging by Home Depot and picking up an herb plant and then nurturing that and then utilizing it for its value over a period of time, just to see what impact it has on your daily life, maybe that spurs you into greater action. Maybe that does develop that, but it requires a level of transparency and honesty and authenticity from individuals such as yourself with these sort of mediums in order to continue to express this need. And then putting it back on our industry, I think we need to be approaching chefs in a way of being the tastemakers and the culinary cultural historians that are charged with the responsibility of maintaining these identities into the future. And then furthermore on our industry, going downwards from within the institutions, is to make sure that there is that top-down pressure on the people who are studying underneath us, hopefully studying underneath us, not just working underneath us, but studying underneath us, to go out into the market itself and continue to perpetuate this idea of tastemakers and influencers and providing utility to families who may not have the access either to simple cooking implements, a stable kitchen.
Sometimes that's
food
the
is
issue.
everywhere. I don't think food's the issue. Typically, it's stability and accessibility to product or to equipment. I see as the primary issue. You can go almost anywhere and find food. You can grow your own food. A lot of people just don't have the time or space or implements to cook that
or
food.
knowledge,
which again, that's upward pressure on us to make sure that we're disseminating that information in a way that's accessible and successful and encouraging.
So you had me thinking you were like that you were thinking like in the future it was going to be just like they were going to figure out ways to just make food.
We have. I mean, look at the.
Well, I mean, like so much so to the point where there becomes like a supply and demand problem, and only the rich are going to get the actual food, and everyone else is going to be left.
I feel like you're going to get like a box of farina.
And so you're saying now that it's important for us now to introduce these ideas of like cooking and getting fresh food
to demand it
to kind of like prepare ourselves for like what's kind of coming.
Because I think if you look at the evolution of food, I mean, where we were like in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, up until the point of World War II, I mean, with the expansion and the explosion of food processing and packaging, I mean, ultimately we end up with a surplus issue. Like America makes way too much food. I mean, if we're still throwing away 40% of our diet day in and day out because we have too much food, then there's a problem. And we still have hunger at a level that's just unprecedented, right? So I use the word. We have a moratorium on unprecedented because it just seems to be overused at this point. But anyhow, so we've always done this. We've always optimized our systems to a way to make sure that we are producing way more than what we actually need. We have so much food that we don't actually have a use for it.
Because actually, the American diet, like the 2,000 calories, is really not what the human body needs. It's what the economy needs in order to make sure that there's.
And that's a problem for the food industry, right? Because you can only eat so much food. So how do you end up?
I could do 2,000 all like.
Right. I mean,
problem.
I'm thinking like when I was in college and I was like, our calorie diet for like the day for like our training regimens was 4,000 calories a day, and they were actually monitoring you to make sure you were consuming that much in order to make sure you were current on your training regimens. I mean, so like that was just an athlete, soccer. But just as an athlete, that was what they sort of estimated.
Burning some calories.
Yeah. And so they were making sure that you were being fed. As an athlete, they were treating you, I mean, I can't imagine what they do at professional sports, but I mean, they're making sure that they are optimizing their investment in you as an athlete. So they want to make sure that you're optimizing your opportunities with your diet and with your workout routines and with your practice schedules. And so, if we look at like the calorie expectations, I mean, is that how much food you need to eat or is that how much food you need to buy? Right? From an economic standpoint. So now you look at like the new movement where everyone's going protein heavy. Yes, protein is essential, for proper bodily function. However, if we start over-indexing how much protein is available and where it's available, I mean, you have to think that protein itself is fundamentally garbage that was passed on by the dairy industry and the soy.
It's hard to consume as much protein as they recommend.
Well, it's also not very environmentally responsible.
Well, I mean, it's a reutilization of the garbage they were otherwise throwing away or turning into animal feed, right? Because it's all the mashup from like soy protein, right? So it's all the mashup, the stuff they were discarding and said, hey, actually, we can refine this and turn this into a usable, sellable product. So now you see, I mean, there's protein in Cheerios. I mean, for some people, I mean, who can't eat a 16-ounce porterhouse steak, maybe can eat a bowl of Cheerios.
See, but the problem with that is that your body metabolizes it differently.
They could.
Everything.
It's not in its natural form. It's not necessarily working in your system the same way. Just because it's a protein isn't a protein isn't a protein.
Right. And so again, that comes down to another issue where it's like everything is specialized to the individual, right? But it's not. It's generalized for the consumption. So everything is being generalized. You're creating all these sort of like general accesses or information points that allow people to participate in the economy, to buy all these things, to think that they're doing their body something good. And you don't really know. You can't be certain. You're sort of like relying on third-party individuals to sort of give you the right kind of information that you need to convince you to participate. But are you really doing yourself any good? I mean, you're like we were talking about before, like, trying to find like good herders around here, livestock that's producing quality meat. Whenever you have government regulation that makes it so hard for these people who are actually trying to turn like just a decent livelihood out of, raising animals, can't do it because the USDA or the local health departments can't possibly certify that they're doing it in a sanitary fashion. Now, we're not talking like massive slaughterhouses here. We're talking about a small family farm with maybe less than 100 head of cattle that are just trying to do the right thing that they've known to be right for centuries. And yet the government's saying, you can't possibly do this right. We're going to prohibit this behavior.
You should be able to like sign something that just says, I understand that the government has nothing to do with this. I'll take it.
It's the same
as it.
Well, there was like the appropriation of like the idea of organic. Yeah. Whenever you had to actually pay for the right to use the word organic, to the federal government in order to participate, then it kind of like diluted the meaning of organic. And then you consider like how many different approvals were forced through Congress in order to assume that these products can now be considered organic. Oh, no, we approve that chemical. That one's okay. We can use that now and we can still be called organic.
I think this conversation came up a lot too with when was like the locavore movement and people getting their things locally, as local as possible. I think that there's something to be said for that, and I think it's admirable, but I also think that there's a reason that we evolved away from that. And that's because we couldn't meet the demand. Like the only reason that the locavore movement can exist now is because the industry exists behind it that supports it and it subs in all the things that can't. If we tried to do that only, it would again not work, and we would again move into an industrial
think about the
complex.
Winter. I mean, how much food did you pickle, jar, or otherwise preserve to make sure that your family could eat for the winter?
To make sure we could eat for the winter. None, but I do pickle and jar.
Right, but if you're doing it in the quantity that you actually need in order to sustain yourself from, let's say, November until March.
There's a reason we evolved out of that process. Yeah. Because it wasn't a workable,
it wasn't sustainable. At this scale, it wasn't sustainable. So we have the luxury of participating in these sort of like boutique markets.
You don't have the whole day to spend doing it.
I mean, is it greed though, or is it that it's not sustainable, or like, I mean, if we did go back to just buying local, that's it. Like you only bought local, like within a car ride.
Right.
Like
you'd have to adjust your expectations.
You would just like budget your food kind of, right? Like you don't eat steak once a week.
Right. Your consumption But I mean, okay, so
would you be healthier?
If all of a sudden you start cutting back, if you were the kind of person who was eating, meat 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week, and you suddenly reduce that down to 1, I mean, that's a huge impact on the economy. I mean, can the economy as a whole tolerate that sort of that seismic shift in
every
behaviors?
Local economy? I mean, every local economy would do much better. So if every single local economy did much better,
you have to have such massive buy-in from the population as a whole. Like that's again, we are so individualized in our expectations and our ambitions.
But it's almost like you have to kind of go back to that. Like it looks like things are almost trending in that direction. Just based on
it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not going to happen. I mean, like even like Jen and Ryan. I mean, what they're doing out there. I mean, for the amount of people that they can feed. I mean, it numbers maybe in
300.
It may be 1,000. what they could sustain as long as everyone did their part. And
I'm
everyone
gonna check that out. I'm gonna try them.
And as long as you ate your broccoli,
Yep.
you can't go in there and say, I don't like broccoli.
Right.
It's like tough. It's what's for dinner.
That's what came out of the ground. So that's what you have to figure out how to use.
And I think originally, I think when locavorism actually started getting its traction, the CSA models were really starting getting their traction. I think there was a lot more microeconomy buy-in. It's like, okay, we understand that we're sharing in the risk of giving you our money. And at the end of the season, we might not get anything for it because you know what? It didn't rain.
Could have failed.
Yeah.
Right. The weather could have been.
And so that level of buy-in is just not a guarantee that it's not a risk that we're willing to tolerate.
I
right
just
now.
don't think a lot of people want to be inconvenienced like that. We don't have that kind of culture right now. It takes a shift.
I try.
I think Hammonton's probably done it locally the best.
try,
I think Hammonton has this the strongest local economies and participation out of most towns in South Jersey.
People support, man, in Hammonton, like everyone.
There's a lot of history.
Yeah, this community wants to see their people.
It's
do
always
good.
reinvested in itself, and it's always sort of maintained itself
That's
in
why
a meaningful
stays.
way.
Everyone stays.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think that's why it continues to grow. And I think that's part of their evolution has always been a matter of preservation of components of its past, and accentuating that which worked, and finding other options or opportunities for that which wasn't. And I think it's done a pretty good job by staying by those principles. And I think that is an example of what a local economy can do when it's cohesive and it's thought out and it values itself.
Mm-hmm. So before we go, I do want to get back to what you're working on right now, because I would like to kind of dive. I want to get in your head a little bit. Like what do you got going on? What's the brainchild thing? Is that a word? Brainchild? Did you play at the Avenue, by the way? Did you play at the Avenue over in Egg Harbor City?
No. On Philadelphia?
On Philadelphia Avenue and 322. Didn't your band play there? Didn't you play there?
Or was it Howell's?
It was like the fire. It was like a fire station.
Oh, at Leatherheads?
Oh, Leatherheads. That wasn't you?
That was another one of our concepts, but
I was thinking Leatherheads the whole time.
Is that what it was?
I'm sorry.
No, we were on the other end of the block, the Avenue.
Okay. All right.
We
Apologies.
No.
It was a total side.
No, we had a little bit of influence there when that became Leatherhead, so
It's fine.
it's fine.
What are we working on now? We're working on.
We're trying.
We're kind of just tweaking what we're trying to like.
We're trying to
just
figure out
do
what we're
the
going to do
best
for farm
version.
season. I think it's farm season, which I think we were going to lean in a little bit heavier on farm season and try to be a bit more present at the farm. Just because I think that, again, part of that keeping the economy vibrant and local, it's finding opportunities outside yourself and making sure that you're participating in those opportunities, especially if they're, something like Walking Bird.
I mean, a big thing with us is just being as authentic as possible. So there's times when we've like tried to overreach a little bit or adjust, and we pull ourselves back in.
Yeah, we did House Party, and we did Shug, which were two flexes.
I'm working on Mahjong now. I want to have Mahjong nights, but I need to figure out how to learn. I don't know how to play.
We've been contacted recently a number of times for different
a lot of school
educational
programs,
which is great.
That is what we're working on. Thank you.
I think that's the nuclear option. It's like we go out there and we just sort of like divulge all of our information and teaching.
Cool.
In order
you guys are into that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I went to school to be a teacher, so I mean, I taught for a little while, and I taught over at the culinary college for a while, and I see a lot of value in that. And it requires a receptive audience that's willing to sort of make those transitions and make those hard choices to sort of do better for themselves. I mean, teaching is hard in its own way, but learning, I think, is in some cases more difficult. I mean, you have to be so much more receptive, and you have to really sort of resonate with the individual that's providing the instructions. I mean, sometimes you can have a well-meaning instructor, but if they don't really deliver the information in a meaningful manner, you just end up losing students. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times you end up sort of turning them off to the industry. Mm-hmm. So I think that's I think we're
in teaching mode.
Yeah, we're pushing towards teaching mode, I think.
Yeah, if you're in teaching mode, I think the future's bright. I mean, you guys are. I love everything you guys are doing. I love it.
Thank you.
I love Hammerbacher's. I love everything I've eaten there. Hanging with you guys has been awesome. Even talking to you. I mean, we got into that whole conversation about olives like the first time I ever walked in there. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
We love interest.
Yeah.
You could pick any topic.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks
coming
for
down.
having us.
Thanks for hanging. Yeah, I know it took a little bit to get us scheduled here, but
the weather always
awesome.
has a role.
Oh, dude, that was awful.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Finally. Jeez.
Yeah, but until next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.